Hello, my name is Matthew Minton, and this is my code review for CS499 Computer Science Capstone. I'll be reviewing my Grazioso Salveo project from IT 145. This project demonstrates software engineering and design, algorithms and data structures, and databases. I'll walk through the artifact code first so you can see what it does, and then I'll analyze weaknesses and explain how I plan to enhance it. I don't have the enhancement coded yet, so today we'll only look at the existing code. First, we'll start with the rescue animal Java class. Uh, it is the base class for all animals. It has fields for name, gender, age, weight, acquisition date, acquisition country, training status, reserved status, and in-service country. You'll see here is our constructor for general constructor for the rescue animal class, as well as all of our getters and setters for each type. Um, Also, what you can tell is none of these validate input. Um, so we have a major weakness there, but I'll get more into that later. Next, we'll go into our dog.java class. It is a subclass of the rescue animal and inherits uh, from the rescue animal class, um, with the addition of including a field for breed. Otherwise, like I said, it inherits everything else. Again, there's no validation, so breed could be left blank or even set to some nonsensical input. Next, we'll go into the monkey class, which again extends the rescue animal class, but also adds species, tail length, height, and body length. The biggest problem here is species is supposed to be limited to four specific types of monkey. Um, Whenever this was completed by me, I did not add that in my code. So there's a major flaw in this code already. It doesn't meet requirements from the uh, Grazioso software documentation. Um, Therefore, if I type in again some nonsensical input for species, you call it a dragon, and it would accept it with no issues, which is a major issue. um, the fields such as tail length and height, body length are not controlled by a measurement unit. So the numbers and settings that are input are not very clear as what they could be. And then here are the setters and getters for those additional fields in Monkey. Finally, we're going to look into the driver class. So driver is actually the main entry point where most of the work happens. It has the main method with a text menu for intake, reservations, and printing animals. See here, uh, we are initializing our our monkey and dog list, and we have our uh, switch cases for our menu. We have a display menu function here, uh, and many other functions in this driver class. The issue with this is this makes the driver class extremely overpopulated. Most of this should be handled by a separate class and called within this driver class. Uh, it makes this hard to maintain, and it also holds static arrays for dogs and monkeys, which is inefficient and clunky. Input methods repeat the same code for dogs and monkeys instead of using a shared helper. Worst of all, there's no error handling, as in many other places in this code. If I type unexpected, the program could simply just crash. Um, let's go back to rescue animal. We'll point out in detail some of these issues. Um, as I said, this is the parent class for all animal types in the system. The private fields start here. These are common attributes both dogs and monkeys share. All these fields are private, which does follow encapsulation, but the getters and setters do not have any validation, as I stated before. That means I could set age to a negative number, put letters in, and the program wouldn't have any issues, even though it would not function the way it was intended. Another issue is, as with all the others, acquisition date is stored as a string. Um, it would, which means it would take unformatted dates, such as we could say there is a 25th month, and it would have no issues. Um, one thing that could be done better here is to use a local date type and enforce a proper date format. Um, constructors, the very same way. They're just set fields with no validation. Um, for setters like set age, again, uh, we have it set as a string, so there's no validation saying that it could even be a valid number. I could say this dog is 200 years old, and it would be fine with that in the code. This is something I plan to fix in my enhancements. Another major flaw, as you can see as we walk through the code, especially in this particular class, there are no comments. So any future review of this code would be extremely difficult if done by someone else, as they could potentially get lost, not knowing what anything's really doing. Let's go into the Java, I'm sorry, the dog.java class, and we'll look at it as well. Again, dog does extend rescue animal and adds a private single field, uh, I'm sorry, a private single string field breed. Um, Again, there's no validation. The breed could be left blank, and the rest of this class is just getters and setters. It's very minimal, but it does show how the project is using inheritance to add details to specific animals. Now let's go to our monkey class. Monkey is similar to dog, but has more fields. This being due to uh, the uh, the other getters and setters we've added in here. The biggest issue is the monkeys are supposed to be only 4 valid species, but the setter does not enforce that at all. So my plan is to include some enumeration in the enhancement to ensure that only one of the 4 species can be selected. Um, again, this code lacks comments, and there's no explanation of what the units for, such as tail length or height or body length, should even be. It could be meters, it could be inches, it could be anything. There's nothing saying that. Uh, it's a very good example of why validation is critical, and without it, the data that you get from this is unreliable. And finally here, let's look at the driver.java class. Like I said, this is the main class. It drives the program. It's what allows us to actually function. It's the biggest and most problematic class in the entire program. It contains the main method and the text-based menu that we see here. At the top, we see um, static array list, the whole dog and monkey objects. Um, One issue that we plan to fix by adding an SQLite database is that everything here is stored in memory. So when I run this program and I close it, all any inputs that I've brought in for uh, in new intakes of animals, dogs, monkeys, that's all lost. So if the system ever shut down, all of your all of your data is no longer there. Well, let's see. If I scroll down to intake new dog, we see it prompts the user for each field, but there's no input validation again. I can type anything. Like I said before, and the program will accept it. There's no error handling, um, and anything unexpected could just simply cause the program to crash. Uh, Intake new monkey is almost identical. Let me scroll down to here. I'm sorry. uh, Shows duplication. So both of these intakes probably could have been handled um, simply by just combining the two into one intake method. Um, Further down, we'll go to the reserve animal class. I'm sorry, reserve animal method. It loops through an entire list of dogs or monkeys to find the one that matches. It's very inefficient. It's as far as big O notation, it's big O N. Um, and as the group of animals grows larger, this is going to be slower and slower. My goal is to replace this linear search method with a hash map style, which will take my big O notation to um, over 1, so that regardless of the size of the database, I will be able to keep my search to a minimum. Next, the print animals method also has duplication, one method for dogs and one for monkeys, but the logic is almost the same as you can see. Let me go here. So I could probably combine all this to make it into a much simpler method here. Overall, driver tries to do too much. It handles many display, user input, data storage, and logic all in one class. That violates separation of concerns and makes the program hard to extend. So, what is it we plan to do to fix this? So, category 1 of our software enhancement plan, it focuses on software engineering and design. The design of this project has three big weaknesses: lack of input validation, duplicate code, and poor separation of concerns. My plan is to restructure with an animal manager class that handles logic, leaving driver just for menu control. So we'll extremely simplify what we have here, and all of the logic that's handled in this driver class will be handled by the animal manager class. I'll add a code class to connect SQLite Manager so that, I'm sorry, I'll also create reusable validation methods for things like age and dates, so every input is checked. On top of that, we will write JUnit tests for validation and logic so that we know that the program is functioning exactly how we intend, and that there is 100% coverage on our program. These changes will demonstrate object-oriented design, modularity, exception handling, and automated testing. Next, we need to focus on our category 2 of this enhancement plan, which is algorithms and data structures. As I said before, this search method for our Grazioso rescue animal app is handled by a linear search method, and all of the data is contained in these array lists for dogs and monkeys. As this list grows larger and larger, as you know, with any linear uh, O of N search, it's going to continue to slow down and slow down because each item in the array list must be checked until the object that you're trying to find is found. What the plan is, so let me back up. Uh, my plan is to replace array lists with a hash map keyed by animal type so I can directly access subsets. I'll also add enums to replace magic strings, making it hard to break things with typos. Again, JUnit tests will confirm that searches and reservations work correctly, even with edge cases. Finally, our category 3 is for our databases. Right now, the program has no database. Data is lost when the program closes, which makes this not a functionable app for the Grazioso company. They would not want this, as it would not aid them at all, as they would lose all of their reservations as soon as any power outage or someone decided to restart the software. My plan is to integrate an SQLite and build a CRUD class for persistence. That way that I can uh, handle the creation and reading of all of the hash maps by a separate class. That way animals can be added, updated, reserved, and retrieved across runs, and driver won't have to talk to the database directly. It will call the CRUD class. This makes the project more realistic and industry ready. I'll also use an in-memory SQLite database during JUnit testing, so testing doesn't affect the real data. Now, let's take a look how the program handles bad input. So let's go ahead and start this with our driver class. Okay, so I'm going to try to intake a monkey. So we see 2 is our selection for intake a new monkey. So I'll enter 2. And as you see, I've hit enter one time and I've already had an error. I have skipped monkey name altogether. So I now have a null field for monkey, which should be handled by input control, input validation. Let's continue to see if we can find any other. Here I'll just put an age for 40. Again, it handles it. I should have had some sort of input validation there. And again, we'll just say we see that nothing's handled. The code just stops with error code 1 with an exception. Nothing's handled, like I said, with this. So there's a lot of issues that we need to look into. To wrap this up, this project shows how I can improve a foundation level artifact into a more professional application. In software engineering and design, I'll add validation, refactor with an animal manager, and write JUnit test. In algorithms and data structures, I'll replace array lists with hash maps and enforce enums. In databases, I'll integrate SQLite with a CRUD class for persistence. These enhancements will demonstrate key skills across major computer science areas and will show my enhancement or my improvements thus far on my computer science journey. Thanks for watching my code review.